Hey everyone, welcome to the video. So in this video, I'm going to perform customer segmentation using two approaches, K-mean clustering and RFM analysis. So the goal is simple. We want to analyze customer behavior, identify high value customers, spot churn risk, and make the data actually useful for business decisions. So by the end of this video, you will see how both techniques work, how they differ, and how we can bring everything together in a clean Power BI dashboard. So this is what the final dashboard will look like. It has two pages, and on this page you can get like the overall number of customers and then the number of clusters that I will be using in the k-mean algorithm, and then some of the categories of each customer segment that I got from RFM analysis, and then a detailed customer table with cluster labels, RFM score, and then the final segment as well. So this gives both high level insights and low level details in one page. And then on the other side, I've shown the importance of customer segmentation, and then some of the basic definition of k-means clustering, and then the RFM analysis. So let's just talk about that. Firstly, the question is why customer segmentation matters. So before jumping into the dashboard, let's understand why we actually need segmentation. So customers don't behave the same, right? Some buy frequently, some spend more, some haven't purchased in a long time. So if you treat all customers the same, you waste marketing budget, you miss retention opportunities, you fail to identify churn early. So customer segmentation helps you focus on the right customers, take targeted actions, and make data-driven decisions instead of assumptions, right? So there are two techniques that I've covered in this video for the segmentation and clustering. Firstly, I have k-mean clustering. It's basically an unsupervised ML model that I will be using for to cluster our like segments of customers. So this means there are no predefined rules or labels. Here's how it works. It basically groups customers based on similarity, right? It identifies natural customer patterns, and then what it does is like customers with a similar behavior ends up in the same cluster. So like data driven, scalable, and there are no business assumptions that we need here. And then finally it cluster the customers based on the behavior pattern. So why it's useful, it finds natural behavior pattern, it's fully data driven, it works well on a large data set as well, right? And if we talk about the RFM analysis, which is more business friendly, RFM breaks customer behavior into three simple metrics. Firstly, we have recency, which means how recently a customer made a purchase, like the latest purchase of a customer. Then we have a frequency, which shows how often they purchase, the number of transactions each customer has made over a period of time. And then we have a monetary value, which means how much they spend, the total sales amount or the total amount spent by a customer over a period of time. So after we get these three metrics, we then score them, and then based on that, we actually label them into any of these specific segment, right? So this is what I will be doing in this video, which you can definitely follow, and I will also add the link of the PBX file and then the data in the comment below, so you can always refer to it. So let me jump on to the clean PBX file where you can, where we can perform this sort of analysis. Okay, so let me jump over there. So this is the data that I've imported. It's just a simple data that we have been using since long in our some of the past videos. So let's just try to clean that first. So here, let's just try to have a quick uh, filtration to clean our data. Basically, in my data set, I have some negative values available. So let me just make sure the quantity is greater than 0 to include only the valid values. So let me just apply filter here, and then I will also be applying filter of unit price. That should also be greater than 0, because it does not make sense to have a unit price of 0. And after that, I think overall data set is good, and we can also even check the dates here. It seems like there is some sort of data type issue here. So what I do is, let's say if I just say remove, and let's say if I just right click into that, and I say uh, for example, if I choose column, if I go to key pros and then I say key pros, I believe I will be able to see some of the rows where there is a data type issue over here. So it's loading just because the data is a bit large here. So let's just wait for a second. Okay, so this operation has been applied successfully and there is no sort of error here. So which means our data types are correct. And now let's just try to keep only those columns which we need for our analysis, right? So here what I can do is I can just select the invoice number and then the customer ID and then the invoice date and finally the total amount. I believe this is what we need so far, and total amount basically is the multiplication of quantity and unit price, right? So now I have all the columns that I need. Next, what I can do is I can just let me actually keep it here, because here only customer ID is important for us to distinguish any customer. And after that, everything is, I believe, good. So I have customer ID, invoice number, total amount. Let me just remove the space here to make everything consistent. Okay, so after that, now the real thing is applying uh, the k-mean clustering algorithm and then also the RFM analysis algorithm into this data set to get the cluster and also the segments of each customer. So for this, we will be using the Python code here in Power Query, just because we can't really apply k-mean clustering on a Power BI using any sort of other function. It's basically in scikit-learn library that we will be using. So let's just try to add that. Okay, so I will go to transform and then the run Python script. Here I will just use the Python code to perform the analysis on the data set and to create clusters and segments. So here it's written in comment as like data set holds the input data for this script. So that means like we have all the data in this variable. And by the way, if you don't have like Python setup on Power BI, so all you need to do is just download the Python from the internet and then go to setting and then just add the path of the Python installation, and then you will be able to run any Python code in Power Query and in Power BI, right? So since I have the Python script ready, let me just copy and paste here, and then I will explain you what it's being done over here. Okay, so here I'm using the pandas and then the mainly the scikit-learn library, sklearn library, where I'm using the k-means library to perform the clustering on on our data set. And for the RFM analysis, I'm just using pandas to perform calculations. So I'm just making a copy of a data set to keep my original data as it is in case I need it later. So other than that, I'm just performing some sort of cleaning to make sure my data types are in correct format. Like I'm just making sure to convert that into a date, time, and then also dropping if there are any NAs over here, right? For the reference date, I'm using the maximum. The reason behind that is for in order to calculate the recency of a customer, which shows how recently a customer purchased, we would be picking the last day of a customer when he actually made a purchase, and then we are actually using that last date to find a difference of number of days the customer made a purchase. So in order to calculate the number of days, we actually need the latest date, which can be like the today date. But since the data set is very old, so comparing it with today date would give a large number of days difference. So this is why I'm using the reference date as a maximum of invoice date to compare the data set and in order to calculate the recency, right? And here I'm just firstly calculating the RFM table. I'm just grouping it by customer ID and then performing aggregation on the reference date minus the maximum date of each customer, and then I'm just getting the number of days. So this would give me the like number of days customers since the customer's last purchase date, right? So then I would be calculating the number of transactions. For this, I would just be doing the unique count of the invoice number. That basically shows the number of transactions that a customer has made, right? And then for the total amount, I will be just doing the sum of the total amount, right? So this is what it looks like. It would just give me the RFM table, and here I would have these columns like recency, frequency, and monetary. And after that, I will be just applying the fit transpose function. Okay, the one I have actually uh, imported from the standard scaler. Yeah, this one. So what this would do is this would actually perform and apply transformation functions over here, right? And basically, when we say like we have recency, we have frequency, and we have monetary, so all these numbers are actually very different. They have their own unit. Like monetary number would be in sort of, you can say, dollars, and then this number can be a bit large, and these kind of numbers. Frequency can be lower, and then recency can be large and low. So we actually need to normalize the data, right? And perform some sort of, you can say, scoring into it. So this is what is being done over here, right? So this is how it would give us the recency, frequency, and monetary score. And after that, I would be applying the k-mean clustering algorithm. For this, we actually need to set the number of clusters that we want to have. So I have set that as 5, right? And I'm using this function over here where I'm just passing the number of clusters and then the random state of 42, like how many times we want to perform this clustering. And then I'm just fitting the model. So yeah, this is how it would give me the result. It would give me the number of clusters from 0 to 4, the total of 5 clusters. And then after that, I'm just performing some sort of feature engineering over here to have some like labeling of a customer. Like here it would just give me a number 0 1 2 3. Here I'm just applying it as a cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, some sort of good labeling that you can use in our reporting. And here the interesting thing is here I'm just scoring the R, F, and M score, the one that I got from here into uh, some of the most common like score. Here I'm just using performing some calculation to score it from 1 to 5. 1 means low and 5 means high, right? So this is what it is being done over here, and after I get the score, I just then use that score to perform segmentation of a customer. So for example, if any customer's R score is greater than equal to 4, F is greater than equal to 4, M is greater than equal to 4, then I can consider that customer as a champion because he is a leader person in all of the three score category. And then I have all these segments as well, and which you can make yours as well based on your business logic. So this is how I've calculated some of the segments, and here I'm just applying that function over here, and after that I'm just keeping the ones that I created at the above to give you an idea what is the output that it actually gave me. It's actually a percentage format which I then converted into a more formal, you can say, the score, but I've actually kept that so that you can always understand it how it's actually calculating all this stuff. So this is what it looks like, and let me just hit OK, and it would take a couple of minutes. So let me just apply continue, ignore. Okay, so this would take some time since the data is a bit large. So let me pause the video and get back to you once it's done. Okay, so it took around 2 minutes, and these are the data frames that I actually used in my Python code. So let me just show you the code again and also show you the final data frame where I have my all the analysis daily data available. So I actually need to now use this data set to get the final output. So here I will be just clicking on this table to get the value of this table. So it would again take a couple of minutes. So let me pause the video and then come back to you when it's ready. Alright, so the step has been processed successfully, and it actually added two more steps over here. First we have data set, and then it actually applied the data type changes. So I have all the data by customer ID, and then the recency, frequency, and monetary values, and then it actually created the cluster, and then the cluster values over here, and finally the RFM and M score values from 1 to 5, and I can also show you the values that are in norm form to perform the normalization of the data, which I then use to convert that into a more, you can say, the uh, formal way of looking at the scores, like from 1 to 5 where 1 is the lowest and 5 is the highest, and then perform the uh, like segmentation of the customers based on the if else logic. So this is what the data look like, and let me just hit close and apply, and let you move to the window. Alright, so the data has been loaded successfully, and it took a bit time to perform all the calculations over there. And again, if your data set is a bit large, then definitely it will take us some time. So this is the data set that I showed you previously, and let's just try to quickly build our dashboard over there, right? So what I will do is I will first add all the cards that high level metrics that we can show to our customers or our like main leadership. So the number of customers that we have, again the count would be same as the existing count. So let's just make sure to use existing count, and I can just rename that as number of customers, right? And let me apply copy and paste, and here I can also show the number of clusters that I've actually made in K means clustering, right? That is number of clusters, right? And here I can also show the some of the categories of our RFM analysis segment. So for example, if I just add the segment over here, and if I let's say do a count, and here if I just add that as a VL again and apply the filter to champion, so this that number would be the number of champion customers that we have. So I can just simply say the number of champion customers, right? And other than that, we can also show some of the main categories of or the segments of the customer in which the leadership can be interested to look into it. For example, the loyal customer can also be great to look into. So we can say like loyal customers, and in the same way we can also show some of the customers which are actually at risk, because these are the customers that can be churned in the later time if you don't focus on them or apply some sort of marketing campaigns to keep them back. And other than that, we can also filter to churn customers over here, right? So I can just rename that to churn. So these are the like high level cards, and here I've actually added the table vision. Let me just add the breakdown of each of these things by uh, customer. Okay, so here I would say I don't want to summarize the data, and after that what I can do is I can just apply the cluster label, the cluster in which the customer is for, in terms of k-mean clustering. I can rename that to k-means cluster, and let me also apply the R, F, and M score, right? That I actually built. So here I would firstly apply the R score, then the F score, and then the M score. And I don't want to summarize the data, so let me just keep that to don't summarize. And after that, I can add the segment of the each customer, right? So this is what the data looks like, pretty straightforward, and I believe it's the uh, bar chart, right? Stack bar chart. So let me add it over here, and here I can show the number of clusters, sorry, the segments that I got, and I can just do a distinct count and also add them into a legend to have some different coloring. And let me just copy and paste it and convert that into a pie chart. Here I can just use the cluster labels to show the number of clusters that I actually got. So let me add that into a value and then the legend as well. So I have these customers breakdown over here. So this is how we can show the data and perform some sort of clustering over here. So let me just go back to the dashboard that I showed you previously, and obviously you can perform some sort of conditional formatting and then the other stuff over here. But the purpose of this video was to really give you an idea about the segmentations that we can make onto our customers data set, right? That can be useful later to optimize our marketing campaign. So yeah, in this video, we actually used k-mean clustering to find customer behavior pattern. We also used RFM analysis to explain customer value. We combined both into a clear actionable Power BI dashboard. So yeah, that's it for this video. And if you find this useful, like the video, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you want a deeper dive into clustering or RFM analysis. And thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.